Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the first official edition of Movie Monday. Yes, every Monday, I've decided, going forward, will be Movie Review Day. Yes, a lot of you have been asking me if I could get back to doing sort of regular movie reviews and stuff like that, so I thought, I do watch a lot of movies. Why am I not reviewing them? So, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun doing it over Halloween, obviously with the horror movies, but, I don't just watch horror movies. I watch a lot of different stuff. So, starting today, every Monday, you can expect a movie review. Now, that's not to say that that's the only day I'm going to be doing movie reviews. Far from it. I mean, I'm just saying that that's going to be the regular day, and then I'll probably do some random ones here and there as well. But at the very least, you can count on Mondays being movie review day. Movie Mondays. All right, hooray. Well, glad to get that out of the way. So, what are we talking about on this very first Movie Monday? Oh, well, I don't know. What could we possibly be talking about today? Yes, well, I have some idea. Well, of course, I know, but you don't know. Well, actually, no, you probably do know, because I don't think I'm hiding it in the title very much. Yes, that's right. You wanted it. You got it. You saw me rant about it before it was even made. The new 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's a lot of syllables. So, of course, as you know, I recently picked this up on the cheap on Boxing Day for actually less than half price of what it normally goes for. I did see this go for regular price recently. Regular price for the 3D Blu-ray, $39.99. Yeah, no way I would pay $39.99 for this, or pretty much any regular 3D Blu-ray edition. I got this for $16.99 on Boxing Day, so, not super cheap. I normally pay like $5 to $10 for Blu-rays, but for a 3D edition, I don't mind paying a little bit more, because obviously it's kind of a premium, for the added feature of 3D. Anyway, what did I think of the movie? Well, let's find out today on the Multimedia Chronicles. You about to get shell-shocked. I can't believe I just said that. Welcome back. Well, as you may recall, a while back I did a little bit of a rant when we had heard some leaked information about what the new Ninja Turtles movie was going to be. Specifically, some remarks attributed to Michael Bay. Very brief remarks where he was just kind of, I don't know, I guess pitching it to some executives or something. I don't know what it was exactly. It was some kind of talk that he was giving, and Michael Bay is like the worst public speaker in the world. I don't think I've ever seen him give like a speech or a presentation of some kind in which he hasn't completely fucked it up in some ridiculous way. So in this way, he was saying the turtles are extraterrestrials, and now what he actually meant was that the ooze that transforms them into the turtles is extraterrestrial in origin, which is fine. I mean, that's very much in tune with what we've seen before. It was either, in the original comics, I think it was extraterrestrial. It came from space, but I mean, it was very much created in a lab on Earth, but from material that was extraterrestrial in nature. And then, of course, I think in the cartoon, it was more kind of from Dimension X. It was something to do with Dimension X. So, still, basically extraterrestrial in origin. So that's what he meant, but he worded it so poorly that the internet just completely exploded. It's like, the turtles are aliens? What? Because, that's ridiculous. The turtles are not aliens. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of what the turtles are. But apparently that was just Michael Bay being Michael Bay, the horrible public speaker. So rest assured, the turtles are not aliens. They're still very much, as we know them, mutated turtles. Mutated by good old ooze from the mysterious TCRI Corporation. Now, we don't really get too much into that aspect of it, like the origins of the ooze in this. We just get into the origins of where the turtles came from and how they came to be, as we know them in the movie. Where to begin here? Where to begin? So anyway, it's produced by Michael Bay and of course directed by Jonathan Liebsman, who actually, he's an okay director. I've seen some of his other films, like Wrath of the Titans, which I actually thought was quite good, and I liked it better than the remake of Clash of the Titans. He did Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which I have not seen, and I actually have his filmography up over here. Hold on a second. And he also did, and he also did Battle Los Angeles, which, again, was an okay sci-fi action film. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but it was certainly an entertaining enough time waster. And apparently he's doing the first couple episodes of a series based on Terry Brooks' Shannara books. So that's kind of cool. That'd be cool to see. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So, as for the Ninja Turtles movie, what did I think of it? There's so much to cover. Where do I even begin? Well, I guess let's start off with what you really want to hear, which is stuff that I didn't like about it or things that I had a problem with it. The biggest thing, I think, was the fact that it's essentially just non-stop action. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the set pieces and the action sequences are actually quite well done. I mean, there's a couple there that I think are really standout moments for, the Turtles showing what they can do. But the problem I have with that is it's almost like once we meet the Turtles, it's just a non-stop chase scene or action scene or something. And it just does not stop. Like, there's just no let-up until the end of the movie, the villain's defeated, the end. But it's really unrelenting, far more so than previous outings with the Turtles. I mean, like, let's go back and look at the old movies, in particular the first couple, and even the CG one. We'll just leave the third one out of it. But actually, even the third one does this. It just does it horribly. But we get moments of downtime with the Turtles, and you get that in the show all the time. Just chilling in the lair with the Turtles, just being the Turtles and being teenagers and brothers and fighting and playing and training and just all that fun stuff where we get to know them as characters rather than just, it feels like we're getting to know them on the battlefield throughout this movie, and that's to me not what makes the Turtles fun. I mean, to me, it's always been about the the brotherhood and the camaraderie between the Turtles, and you do get some of that, but I feel like it was a missed opportunity to spend more downtime with the Turtles. I mean, what little we do get is great, but there wasn't enough of it. I mean, I think there needed to be some more downtime in between all of the crazy over the top action sequences. So that's unfortunate. I feel that was a real wasted opportunity. The other thing I had a real big problem with, was the retooling of the origin story. Now, before fans of the current comics jump down my throat, I am aware that they took that retooled version of the origin story out of the new IDW comics. That doesn't make it any less sucky. Okay? Just want to get that out there. Just because it's from the new comics doesn't make it good. There are such a thing as shitty comics. And from what I haven't read any of the new comics, but if this is any indication of what they're like, I'm really not interested. I'll just stick with the old Eastman and Laird ones, thanks. I'm good. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I just don't get why they... Okay, there's going to be spoilers in this in case you haven't already guessed. But, alright, so basically April's father was working with this scientist, Eric Sachs. Yeah, not Oroku Saki. Eric Sachs. If ever there was a more blatant whitewashing of a name, there it is. So her father was working with this Eric Sachs guy to genetically engineer I don't know, heroes, I guess. I mean, you saw this in the trailer. We all hoped that we were misinterpreting the trailer, but no, that's actually what happens. That's actually the origin story. And then, so some of the animals that they're working on in their experiments are, of course, the 4 turtles. And oh, look, they have little painted dots on them of the 4 primary colors of the turtles. Isn't that cute? Oh, and 7-year-old April O'Neil gives them their names based on Renaissance artists. Because, every 7-year-old is intimately familiar with the masterworks and names and lives of Renaissance artists. Yeah, so basically April recognizes the turtles. Basically, long and short of it is, they were April's pet turtles. April's pet turtles. She grew up knowing who those turtles were, and then there was a huge accident, and they were thrown in the sewer, and then the ooze. It wasn't even like all the previous versions of the origin story where they were somebody's pet turtle, and they accidentally got exposed to the ooze. It was accidental. It has always been accidental. It was just a series of happy accidents that created that situation, which is great. I mean, how many comic book stories in the past have been happy accidents? Well, tragic accidents that have created the heroes that we love. So I don't understand why it needed to be retooled, or why they felt it needed to be retooled to be very deliberate and intentional. And I don't get that. I hated that retooling of the origin story passionately, and no amount of defending the new comics will ever change my mind on that, so don't even waste my time. It's a stupid retooling of the origin. Period. The other thing was Shredder. Freaking Robo Shredder. Okay, Shredder is so ridiculously over the top in this. He literally looks like a Transformer. In fact, he even makes sounds like the Transformers from the Bayformers movies when he moves around, and certain things that he does. He sounds like a Transformer. And he's big and huge and has like 8 gajillion knives that he can apparently throw into the air and then magnetically pull back to him and throw again. Wow. Like, why? Why did they need to make Shredder so ridiculously over the top? I mean, I was watching it with Stoudman and Skinslip, and we were talking about it and said, like, okay, if that's supposed to be a guy in a suit, that suit is like solid metal armor full of blades and all these mechanical parts. It must weigh like 500 pounds. How is he moving so quickly? How does he maintain his agility? How is he not crushed under the weight of his own suit? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it was so ridiculously over the top. I mean, he was literally a walking Ginsu knife. Like, he was Swiss Army Shredder, you know. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the thing, if you go back to the original comics, it's a guy wearing fairly lightweight armor with blades on it, on the arms, and that's it. He's basically a ninja cheese grater, and that's all he ever was. Even look at the cartoon. Look at the cartoon. It was fairly lightweight armor. Most of it was, leather, and he had his cape and stuff, and that's all Shredder was from the comics too, and that's all Shredder has ever been. I don't understand. Like, it seems to me like they were changing a bunch of things simply because they could, not because it necessarily added anything to the story. The other big problem I had, and this is something I've had a problem with since day one, was the redesign of the Turtles. Now, I get that they were trying to externalize the Turtles' appearance more in their outfits, so there was more distinction between them. I mean, if you go back and look at the cartoon Turtles, for example, they all pretty much look identical, except for their different colored bandanas and different weapons and the initial on their belt buckle, of course. But otherwise, like, visually, they all look the same. And I can get the idea of trying to make them look more distinctive, slightly different body shapes and things like that. But God, the faces are just horrible in this. I mean, they look like they look more like mutated humans than they do mutated turtles. Like, what's with the weird lips? And why do they have these baby blue eyes? Like, I just don't get that. Like, all the incarnations of the turtles that we have ever seen have either been pupilless, which obviously wouldn't work in live action, or they've had dark eyes, like dark, like if you go back to the old live action movies, they all have dark eyes, and I think dark eyes actually works a lot better for them, because quite frankly, the baby blue eyes just look weird. It makes them look too human, and it's off-putting. I found it unsettling. Like, I didn't like their appearances were just weird. There were certain aspects of it that I kind of liked. Like, I liked that Raphael was chewing on a toothpick, and you had Leonardo more with kind of the samurai kind of outfit and stuff like that. But I just really did not like the designs at all. And the one other thing I had a problem with was Michelangelo. They added this sort of obligatory horny teenager aspect to him, which I felt, again, very uncomfortable with that being a part of his character, saying things like, "Ooh, my shell's tightening," when he sees April for the first time, and like, oh god, really? That was an aspect that did not need to be incorporated into it. I mean, Michelangelo has never been the horny teenager. I mean, there's always been kind of an underlying, yeah, April's pretty cute for a human thing going on, but there's never been like an overt, kind of sexual aspect to it, where, it's basically flirting or kind of double entendres and innuendo. I mean, that to me is unnecessary. I mean, the other thing is, this is marketed towards little kids, so you really don't need sex jokes in there. I'm no prude, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you see me on Saturday Night Insanity, I am far from a prude. But I think there's a time and a place for certain types of humor, and I don't think an action movie based on a comic book and a line of toys that's clearly marketed towards younger viewers should have that type of humor in it. I mean, if it's done in kind of if it's appropriately done in a kind of subversive way that it'll go over the head of the kids and only the adults will get, that's fine. But Michelangelo's like horny attitude towards April was very blatantly out there. I mean, there was nothing implied or suggested about it. It was just out there. I mean, it was basically stopping one step short of April, I want to fuck you. I mean, come on. That has no place being in here. It's never been in there before. There's no reason to add it now. Anyway, what did I like about it? Now that I spent 20 minutes talking about what I didn't like about it, those were the main complaints I had, honestly. A lot of them, it's kind of spread out, but, they are aspects of it that bothered me, and I hope that, I know the design's not going to change in any sequels that come out. I mean, that's basically the design for these particular turtles. I felt that some aspects of the design are a little bit too over the top. Like, come on, giving Donatello the obligatory Coke bottle bottom glasses with the tape on them. Like, yeah, that's going to be really practical in battle, having to deal with glasses as well. Like, come on, that was unnecessary. But, and just too stereotypical, really. Now, okay, that's the bad. Now the good. Is there any good left, Sean? Did you actually like anything about this movie? Actually, truth be told, I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting to. I mean, I was trying to go in without any preconceived notions, because I'd heard, everyone was outraged from all the stuff that we'd heard about as it was being made and stuff like that. But I wanted to go in with something of an open mind, especially since I'd heard very mixed reviews from people who had actually gone and seen it when it came out. And a lot of people saying that they were surprised, or that they thought they would hate it, but were surprised by how much they enjoyed it. So I was very curious to check it out. And obviously I wanted to check it out anyway, good or bad, simply because I'm a Turtles fan and I love all things Turtles. So I figured, I kind of expected going in there would be aspects of it that I didn't like, but there would probably be things that I do like as well. Because, you can't have a Turtles movie without it having at least some Turtlesness to it. Same thing with the Bayformers. Overall they're terrible movies, but there are aspects of them that I enjoy. Call them a guilty pleasure, if you will. Except the second one. The second one is just painful. But the other ones, I enjoy those okay. So what did I like? Well, the big thing being the characterizations of the turtles. I think they really nailed it for the most part. Aside from the Michelangelo's horniness, the attitudes of the four turtles was bang on. I mean, they are the turtles. There's no question about that. And the one other thing I didn't like about the design, I forgot to mention, was just the size. They made the turtles so massive, gargantuan, and I don't understand why they had to make them so huge. I mean, they're like 8 feet tall. Like, they're stupidly massive. And Raphael is just freaking, he's the Hulk. You know, he's so massive. But I think the size was far bigger than it needed to be. I mean, have them like maybe 6 feet tall, but come on, like 7 or 8, that's just over the top. So anyway, attitude-wise, I really enjoyed the. I thought they really nailed the attitudes and characterizations of the turtles, and their just the way they act and the way they work together was very much in tune with those characters. There's actually a really one, speaking of set pieces, that I thought were notable, and this was obviously meant to be a big one, and I think they pulled it off great. There's a scene where they're basically going down the side of a mountain, a snowy mountain, and it's kind of a car chase that goes wrong, and there's a truck, there's like trucks and cars and vans and stuff, and everything's just careening down the mountain as the turtles are trying to, like, they're tied up and they're trying to escape and they're trying to help each other and they're trying to get the bad guys and rescue their friend. I mean, it's just crazy action, but very, very well done. And that whole scene really shows the turtles working together and using their individual talents to get out of that situation and to rescue their friends and stuff, and it's really a lot of fun, and I think that scene really nailed it. There's another scene towards the beginning of the movie where we first see them jump into the sewer and they're like skateboarding around and sliding down tunnels and stuff like that. And that is like an ultimate Turtles scene right there. I mean, that's the kind of Turtles, bombing down the sewer tunnels scene that we've always wanted to see. And that just technical limitations of previous live action films just couldn't do at the time. So it really, to me, harkened back to those old films in a way that I liked, because it seemed to be paying homage to them, yet updating it for, with modern effects and stuff. And I'll be honest with you, as much as I don't like the design, the CG is actually pretty fucking good in it. I don't say that very often, but the actual character CG and everything is extremely well done. In fact, when we were watching it when I was watching it with Stout and Skinslip, they thought that what they had done was had the actors in partial suits and then just CG'd the face. But no, they didn't. I watched all the making of featurettes on the DVD or on the Blu-ray. There was no suits. They had a motion capture suit, and that was it. That's all there was. Everything that you see on the Turtles is CG, and a lot of the time it looks real. I mean, they actually did a really nice job of it. They're getting better. Well, it's Industrial Light and Magic. I mean, they've been at the cutting edge of that for a long time. It's kind of a toss-up between Industrial Light and Magic and Weta Digital these days. Which one is, sometimes one is better than the other. Well, in this one, I think they actually did a really good job. I just wish they hadn't fucked up the turtles' faces so bad, because otherwise it would have looked it would have been as close to perfect as live action turtles as they could be. But what else was there? There is one moment. There is one wonderful moment in an elevator. It's just a little moment, a rare breather between action sequences. They're basically going from one action scene, they have to go up this elevator to get to the roof for the big battle. And there's just a wonderful scene of the four turtles in the elevator, which apparently was not even in the script. It was just a bit of improv by the actors. They actually have interviews with the actors who did all the motion capture, and some of whom also did the voices. One or two of the characters had the voices dubbed after the fact, but some of them, the actors doing the motion capture, actually did play the voices as well. And they have an interview with them on the Blu-ray, and they're all Turtles fans. Like, they all love the Turtles, and they grew up watching the show and the cartoons. A lot of them read the comics and stuff like that. So they really knew the characters, and they would play, they would, hang out in between takes and offset and stuff like that to really get that camaraderie going. And it was just, they were saying how they clicked, like, in terms of their working relationship, they all clicked, and and a lot of the way they are in daily life, aspects of that are part of their characters as well. I mean, they're very much, in a lot of ways, they said they very much are like those characters, for good or bad. But it seemed very clear to me that the actors playing the Turtles were very serious about portraying the characters properly, and I think they did a great job, to be honest. I mean, they were really giving it their all. I do not fault them for any of the movie's shortcomings at all, because I think they did a fantastic job as those characters. I think the shortcomings are more to do with the production side of it, the script and the, some of the directing choices. But yeah, one other thing I liked, Will Arnett as Vern. God, is he funny. He's not quite the whiny, nasally Vern from the cartoon, but in terms of his haplessness, definitely nailed it. I think he was a great live-action Vern. Megan Fox as April O'Neil. It's Megan Fox as April O'Neil. Like, I get why she does these movies, as far as saying yes to these roles. Megan Fox herself is a huge geek and loves comic books and cartoons and video games and all that stuff. And, the studios like her because she's, attractive and marketable and stuff. And she's a big name. So, gives their movie a little bit more marquee value, I guess. But honestly, I don't think she was the best choice. I mean, if you look at the April O'Neils of the past, again, look at the old Turtles movies, the other live action April O'Neil. She was just this wonderful, sweet, bubbly girl next door type with the go-getter reporter aspect. One part Mary Jane Watson, one part Lois Lane. So I don't know. It would have been nice to have an actress who was more like that as April, or if they wanted to go in a different direction, maybe more like the April from the original comics, who was, had black hair and was, wore leather jackets and was more, and who originally started off as Baxter Stockman's assistant. Quite different from the April in the cartoons. In fact, in the 2003 animated series, that's the April they went with. And a lot of fans of the 80s cartoon were terribly confused. It almost seems to me that what they decided to do in this one was have kind of an amalgamation of those Aprils, because it felt like there was aspects of both April O'Neils in this. I mean, she was very much the go-getter reporter, but at the same time, she came from a background of being a part of these experiments, in this case, her father. Yeah. One other thing that's kind of strange about it is Shredder. Who the fuck is Shredder? What's his motivation? Why is he in this movie? We never really get a clear story of that. I mean, we know, because we know all the other versions of the Turtles. We have a vague idea. If you watch the cartoon, he used to know Hamato Yoshi, and Hamato Yoshi became Splinter. The movies, the original movies and the original comic, Hamato Yoshi was, had a rivalry with Hiroku Saki back in Japan. Hiroku Saki killed his girlfriend, and then I guess killed him. I can't remember the exact origin story, but Splinter knew, or no, he escaped to America, and then I think he was killed. But Splinter originally was Hamato Yoshi's pet, his pet rat, and he learned ninjutsu from mimicking his movements, from watching him practice and learning it by watching him. So it's like Hamato Yoshi was Splinter's master in a way. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Speaking of the origin story, in the new movie, Splinter is just a mutated rat. He was one of the. He was actually part of the experiment as well, and he learns ninjutsu from a book. 'Cause you can do that. Anyway, overall thoughts. It's a decent enough action movie. Oh, the music score. They actually have a whole feature out about the music score, which I had to stop watching because it was irritating me. The music has been a part of the Turtles' legacy for so long, and it's really been an important part of it. I mean, everybody remembers Turtle Power from the first movie, and then, the Ninja Rap from the second movie, which are ridiculously cheesy songs, and that's fine. It's okay, because it's all about having fun, and, the concept itself is cheesy. It's turtles who are ninjas. That's a cheesy concept, and but the music aspect of it has always been important. The theme song, oh my god, the theme song from the cartoon. I mean, even if you've never seen the cartoon in your entire life, chances are you know that theme song. It is ingrained in the public consciousness. So music has always been a huge important part of it. So the first thing that struck me about the new Ninja Turtles movie is the score is so generic. Like, it is such a typical summer blockbuster action movie score. There is absolutely nothing memorable or unique or interesting about it. You know what I really miss? The days of movie scores that would actually have themes. Actual proper themes. Theme for the movie, some kind of big fanfare for the movie. Themes for individual characters and situations. You had the love theme. You could have the April O'Neil theme. You could have the Raphael's anger theme or something. There's so many possibilities for having great, memorable themes that, have a central, underlying connection with, say, the main theme or what have you. But so many musical possibilities in here. The original movie did it. The original movie has a very memorable score. You listen to it, when that's Shredder's theme. When that's Splinter's theme. When that's the Turtles partying it up. Because the music informs you of that. And in this, I don't remember. I remember very vaguely the score, and I don't remember anything special about it at all. It just seems like the same single theme repeated over and over again, and there's just nothing. And that seems to be a trend now with action movie scores, and I don't get that. Where are the great themes? And then we get the music, the obligatory rap song, Shell Shocked, which I guess that's what rap music is like nowadays, because it's this angry gangster rap type of thing. It's just angry and violent and in your face and full of attitude. And to me, that's not the Turtles. The Turtles have attitude, but it's a fun-loving attitude. The only one who really has that kind of attitude is Raphael. And he's got some issues, man. But it's a terrible song. It really is awful. And there's featurette. They got the music video on there, and they have the making of the music video. It's like, I really don't want to know any more about this song. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Because you go back and listen to the rap songs in the old Turtles movies, and that's the kind of music that was current and hip at the time, so very much a product of its time. But it was fun. Rap back in the 90s, I actually liked a lot of rap back in the 90s because it was fun. It didn't have this angry, attitude-filled side to it. It was just fun, and a lot of it had very positive messages. And the Turtles, you go back and listen to the old movie soundtracks, there's no exception there. There's some that have a little bit more edge to them because they were used for the bad guys, but the majority of songs on there, they are full of positive messages and fun. And I don't get any of that from the new movie, in terms of the music, that is. There's definitely a fun factor. So things I would like to see in the sequel, well, I've heard that we will definitely be getting Rocksteady and Bebop in the sequel. So it seems to be like an amalgamation of aspects of the various previous versions of the Turtles. Now that we've got that god-awful origin story out of the way, maybe we can get into some proper Turtles action. I definitely like to see more downtime with the Turtles. There is one scene in the movie that's terrific, and I would have liked to see more of that, where the Turtles are in the lair and they're training, and they kind of broke the rules a little bit, went against Splinter's word, and went out without his consent. And he's trying to find out what went on. So he decides to torment Mikey a little bit and get him to crack. So Mikey's doing his exercises, and Splinter says, well, if you tell me what's going on, I've got this wonderful new pizza here with 99 types of cheese on it. And the pizza torture scene, as we've come to call it. And it's funny. It's a perfect little Turtles moment. But again, too brief. We need more stuff like that in the new one. You know, it seems that they didn't get the balance right in this. I mean, go back and watch some of the cartoons. Go back and watch the old movies. Get a feel for how it works, you know, and how the Turtles have worked all these years. I mean, it's not difficult. I mean, you can have a scene in between action scenes at the lair where they're trying to figure stuff out or what have you. I mean, the original movie had plenty of downtime with the Turtles. I think that's one of the reasons why it still stands the test of time so well, is because we spend a lot of time with the Turtles just being themselves and not necessarily constantly fighting for their lives. That's what I'd like to see more of in the second one. It's great. Bring in more characters from all the various incarnations of the Turtles. I would love to see, you know, characters from the animated series actually get the proper live action treatment. Apparently in the original second one, we got Toka and Razor, or whatever their names were, something like that. So the original second movie, that was supposed to be Rocksteady and Bebop, but unfortunately at the time, they weren't able to get the rights to do those characters in live action, so they did kind of similar characters. But nowadays, there's no such restriction that can be negotiated. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would love to see Rocksteady and Bebop in live action. I hope they do. Hope they do it right. Hope they don't give them some weird ass redesign like they did with the Turtles. Anyway, wow, that's a much longer review than I was intending this to be. Hope you enjoyed it. I think that about covers everything. So, I guess final thoughts. Did I like the Ninja Turtles movie? Overall, yeah. Actually, I did. I didn't expect to. I honestly expected to despise it, but I was very pleasantly surprised with a lot of it. And yeah, it's definitely got flaws, but it's not flaws that can't be fixed in future movies. Well, a few of them, most of them, some of them. Yeah, a couple of them can be fixed. Well, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. I don't know that Ninja Turtles was a huge hit. I think it kind of got trounced by Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, pretty much everything got trounced by Guardians of the Galaxy because Guardians of the Galaxy was frickin' amazing. But I think it did well enough that we'll be seeing at least one or two more movies. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Alrighty. That is it from me to you for now. I hope you enjoyed this epic-length premiere edition of Movie Mondays. I don't know that they're all going to be quite this long. I mean, this is a lot of time for you to be watching me just gabbing. But, yeah, we'll see. Now, for the rest of this week, I've got some other Turtles stuff planned. A few things I wanted to cover. One of which, next time, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I promise it won't be 40 minutes long. Alrighty. For now, that is it from me to you. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. Oh, hey, and I'd like to take just a second here to thank my current highest level sponsor on Patreon, Mr. Kyle Pellegrini. Thank you very much, Kyle. Definitely appreciate the support. And big thanks to everybody else as well. There's been a few new sponsors that have joined the party, and you'll see them in the list in just a few seconds. Alrighty, see you next time. Until then, sayonara. Oh wait, there's a couple things I forgot. Just pretend there's still all the Turtles stuff there. This totally isn't a clue as to what's coming up soon. Yeah, just a couple little additional things. The I mentioned the whitewashing of Oroku Saki as Eric Sachs, and then I kind of drifted away to other things. One of the fan speculations is that the sort of unknown, unnamed, large Asian man for whom we get no backstory whatsoever, we assume that's Oroku Saki, of course, the Shredder. Now, he's only ever referred to as Shredder in the movie, but one of the fan speculations is that that character is so underdeveloped and just kind of randomly appears in a few scenes in answer to outrage from people at the blatant whitewashing of the character, and that they still kept Eric Sachs' name the same. I mean, I remember when I first heard that it was going to be Eric Sachs instead of Oroku Saki, I was outraged. I was like, wow, that is the most in-your-face whitewashing I've ever seen, and that is ridiculous. So, we don't have any of the backstory of Oroku Saki and Hamato Yoshi or anything. Hamato Yoshi isn't even in it, as far as I can tell. If he is, I missed it, because I sure didn't see or hear any mention of him or the backstory that we know in any form. I mean, I mentioned how it was changed in the cartoons, but it still kept the essence of the original origin story. I mean, the only real difference was, the violence was toned down, and Hamato Yoshi was Splinter rather than, being his pet rat. But otherwise, the origin was pretty much the same as it was in the original comics. Now, in this case, by removing Oroku Saki from the mix, we lose that whole backstory. We lose that whole motivation of Shredder and of Splinter and their backstory, their rivalry. We just don't have that at all. And I think it actually lessens the origin story. But anyway, the fan theory is that the Asian guy was added in at the last minute to appease the fans and kind of quell the outrage about the whitewashing, realizing that they'd fucked up and trying to fix it at the last second, which is why, I mean, the scenes that with that character seem very awkward and out of place. I mean, it's kind of like if you took those scenes out, the movie would still be fully intact. We would just assume that it's Eric Sachs in the ridiculously huge, heavy, overpowered Shredder armor. Instead, editing's been rearranged slightly, so he's off fighting, having his final battle at the end, and then the turtles are fighting the Shredder, the other Shredder. It just seems very awkward. It seems very awkward. So, yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, I hate the whole whitewashing aspect. Anyway, I mean, sure, yeah, it's an American comic made by a couple of white guys, but still, the story has its roots in Japanese culture and Japanese, stuff. So why whitewash that? I don't get it. It just, I don't see. I mean, it's worked perfectly fine, non-whitewashed, through 4 previous movies, countless comic books, and 3 other animated series actually, and I don't see why they had felt the need to retool it and just ruin it like that. So anyway, so as a result, we have a very underdeveloped Shredder in this, which I think is a huge problem, because it seems like between initially whitewashing and then shoehorning in an Asian guy to appease the fans, we never get a clear, proper story for that character. Other than Eric Sachs went crazy. Well, great, Eric Sachs went crazy. Who's this Asian guy? He looks big and badass and menacing, but who the fuck is he? Why is he here? What is his motivation? We never find out. The other thing is, there's a moment at the end with Raphael where the turtles all think they're going to die, and Raphael gives this long, heartfelt speech about how he's apologizing to them for being such a hard ass and going off on his own all the time. He says he's just difficult because he wants them to do better, and he's just trying to push them to be the best turtles they can be. And it's this big, long, heartfelt speech, and it's setting up a joke basically where he's saying all this because he thinks they're about to die. So he just opens up his soul to them, And then, of course, they don't die. So then he's left feeling like an idiot. But here's the thing. All the things that he's saying in that, lovely, heartfelt speech have no source to them. We don't see him being a hard ass to them. We don't see him going off on his own. We don't see him pushing them to do better. None of that, none of anything that's in that speech is sourced in the film. Like, it's not referring to any specific thing that we have seen in the film. Now, we as Turtle fans know where Raphael is coming from because we've seen him do all those things in other versions of the Turtles, in all the cartoons and in the movies. We've seen Raph do that before. But the problem is we haven't seen it in this version. It has not been sourced in this version of the Turtles. I mean, literally, all they need to do is one scene of Raph being difficult and a jerk, and then going off on his own for a little bit, and that would have properly sourced all the things referred to in that speech and given it the emotional weight that it was trying to have. So, because none of that is sourced, then it just kind of falls flat. And a lot of people have said that speech it just kind of seems really awkward and out of place. And, well, that's the reason it feels awkward and out of place, because it is. There's nothing in the film that it's specifically referring to. I mean, it sounds like it's referring to things, and it should be referring to things, but it's not. There's nothing in the movie that relates to what he's talking about in that heartfelt speech. So, yeah. So, in short, I mean, structural difficulties, I think some of which, because of production problems, trying to make everybody happy, and in the end just ending up, it's not a total clusterfuck, but I mean, there's definitely things that feel odd or out of place. Those two things being the two big ones as far as I'm concerned. And so I think this review has gone on more than long enough. I just realized after all my previous 38 minutes of rambling, I had forgotten those two particular things. My apologies, and thank you for all three of you who decided to stick it out right to the end. Good on ya. Appreciate it. I know I'm not, not totally talking to myself. Alrighty. This review is now half the length of the movie. So, yeah, instead of watching the movie, just watch me talk about it for 45 minutes. There you go. That's much better entertainment. Alrighty, that is definitely it for me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and cowabunga!